Inshallah, in the next few weeks, we will cover the 10 major signs of Judgment Day, one after the other. And we will begin with the one that we know is the first of the 10, and it is also the one that we have the most details about. So we might spend 2 full lectures on just this first sign, and we'll discuss various opinions and issues and controversies surrounding this first sign. Realize that not all of the 10 signs we have as much details, and in fact some of them are just 5 minutes, like the 3 earthquakes. That's all that we know. 3 earthquakes, that's it. I've done the 3 signs right there. Not much is known about those, we can just zoom over them. So not all 10 signs we have the same amount of details for, but the first of the 10 major signs, and no doubt the most interesting for most Muslims, also the most controversial, is the concept of Dajjal. The concept of Dajjal. And he will be the first of the 10. Why and how do we know this? Because we know that the Masih, the Jesus, the coming of Isa, will be coinciding with the Mahdi. The Mahdi and Isa will be on earth at the same time. We did this last 2 weeks ago, correct? You guys were here, we did it, right? And we said that the Mahdi, when will the Mahdi die? How will the Mahdi die? What are the details? Guys, help me out. MashaAllah, our young brother says, what does he say? Say it louder. Nothing. What does nothing mean? We don't know. Don't just say nothing. There are no narrations. We don't know how will the Mahdi die, what will his death be. We do know Isa will live for a few years, and there is no mention of the Mahdi. So the assumption is the Mahdi is gone, Isa will live. And what will Isa do? Isa will kill the Dajjal. Therefore, Dajjal, Mahdi, Isa, same time frame. So of the 10 major signs, the first of them without a doubt will be Dajjal. Is that clear? This is how we know the first of the 10. And what did our Prophet ﷺ say? When the first of them come, the other will come. Tilwan akhar, ba'd al-akhar, one after the other, like a domino. Once the first one comes, the other 9 will zoom. So we seek Allah's refuge from even seeing the first one. And the first one is the most terrifying of them, and that is Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal. So who is Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal? What do we know about Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal? And this will be a detailed lecture, so we will not, in all likelihood we will not finish today. We'll have to continue about the Dajjal in next lecture. First and foremost, what is Masih and what is Dajjal? The word Masaha, Masih, is used for only 2 people in Islamic literature. Number 1, the Masih Isa ibn Maryam, and number 2, the Masih Ad-Dajjal. And in Abrahamic religions, folklore of the Judeo-Christian tradition, the both of them, they are called the promised Messiah and the false Messiah. So in the Christian literature, you have the true Messiah, and that's Isa ibn Maryam, and you have the false Messiah, or the Antichrist he's also called. So you have the Christ and the Antichrist. So the concept of there being 2 paired individuals, Jesus, anti-Jesus, Masih ad-Dajjal and Masih Isa ibn Maryam. This is found in Christian literature, and it is found in Islamic literature as well. So the both religious traditions agree on this. As for the Jewish traditions, there is not that much about the Antichrist. In fact, he doesn't seem to play any role. And this is going to come into play. Remember this point, put it in your mind. We're going to come back to this. There doesn't seem to be the figure of the Antichrist. There is only the figure of the Masih, the Christ. And this is going to come very important in a while. What does Masih mean? Masih means to anoint. What does it mean to anoint? In the good old days, when the king became the king, he would be anointed. They would put some holy oil, special oil, and they would put it on his forehead, for example. When the prophet became a prophet in the time of the Bani Israel, he would be taken to the river Jordan, or one of the holy rivers, and he would be anointed with the water. And the concept of baptism comes from this, that he's going to be anointed with the water. That is the anointment, to rub. And that's in Arabic masaha, which is masih, the one who is rubbed. So masaha in Arabic is, masaha is to rub, masih, the one who is rubbed. Masih, the object that is rubbed. So Masih Isa is called Masih because John the Baptist, Yahya, was the final person to give any person this anointment. After Jesus, no one has been anointed by Allah, by the command of Allah, by the barakah of Allah. So Isa is the final one anointed, because there were previous prophets that were anointed, but Isa was the special and the final. So he is called Al-Masih Isa ibn Maryam. So he is the Masih, that is Isa. As for the Dajjal, we do not know who will anoint him. Definitely not righteous people, but most likely his followers will anoint him. His followers will appoint him, and he will be the false appointed one. It is said, and there is no explicit evidence about this, that perhaps the Yahud who follow him will anoint him thinking he is the real Masih. So they will do the ritual of Jesus, but to Dajjal. The ritual that was done to Isa will be given to the wrong one, and the people will assume him to be Isa, but he is not Isa, he is Dajjal. So he is going to be the false Masih, the Antichrist, and that is the Masih al-Dajjal. So his title is Masih, and his noun, not his name, his laqab is ad-Dajjal. And Dajjal, what does it mean? Dajjal comes from Dajjal, and Dajjala in Arabic means to mix up. It also means to deceive, but not a regular deceit. The worst type of deceit is called Dajjal. There is no English translation for it, right? Deceive, you can deceive your child, you can deceive your spouse, you can deceive. But Dajjala is to mix the worst evil with the most righteous truth. And why is Dajjal called Dajjal? Because he shall mix the worst evil, and he will put it in with the truth. He will say that he is Al-Masih Isa ibn Maryam, and this is Dajjal. Because Isa is a righteous man and the Dajjal is an evil man. So he will take an evil, which is that he is a liar, and he will say he is the best of the best, and he is Isa ibn Maryam. Even worse than this, he will say, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, that he is Allah himself. And what greater Dajjal, what greater deceit, what greater evil is there than to say that he is Allah. And he will claim that he is being inspired by Allah. So he will claim all of these claims. And by the way, the person from Qadhi last century, he went through the same things. He first said he is Isa, then he said he is inspired, even though as far as I know he never claimed he is God. But this Dajjal will claim he is God himself. He is Allah himself. So that is why he is called Dajjal, that he is deceiving the people. He is substituting the truth with the falsehood, because no one will mix truth with falsehood in a more brazen manner, in a more blatant manner than Al-Masih al-Dajjal. And our Prophet ﷺ predicted that there will be many Dajjals. In an authentic hadith reported in Musnad Imam Ahmad and other books, our Prophet ﷺ said, and there is a version of it in Sahih Muslim, our Prophet ﷺ said, there shall be after me, listen to this, 30 Dajjalun Kadhabun. 30 Dajjals. All of them Kadhab. كلهم يزعم أنه نبي. Everyone is claiming that he is a Nabi. وأنه لا نبي بعدي. And there is no Nabi after me. What do we learn from this hadith? It's not just one Dajjal. There are many, we can call them in English, Dajjal with a small d. Or we can say mini Dajjals, no problem. But there is one Dajjal with a big D, okay? Or the major Dajjal. So there are many mini Dajjals. Thalathun in one hadith. 30. What is the sign of these false Dajjal? كلهم يزعم أنه نبي. Everyone says the same claim. I am Nabi, I am Nabi, I am Nabi. And the Prophet said, وَأَنَّهُ لَا نَبِيَّ بَعْدِي. From this we learn a principle, my dear brothers and sisters. Anybody who claims he is a Nabi, he is in fact what? A Dajjal. Is that clear? Anybody who claims he is a Nabi, you can call him a title. And that title is, you are a Dajjal. A Dajjal. As for the Dajjal, that will be the last of them. The 30th of them. That is the big Dajjal. That is the worst of them. And before that time, there will be plenty of mini Dajjals. And we had one here in America as well. This Louis Farrakhan, no, sorry, not Mustafa Khan, Elijah Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam, he claimed that he is Nabi, and he claimed that Allah inspires him. And he claimed openly that I am the Prophet of God. He was born Elijah Poole. He changed his name to Elijah Muhammad. And he then said that you have to recite the kalima, there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. And by that he meant he is the messenger. He called himself Muhammad, and then he said, whenever a Muslim says Muhammad Rasulullah, that is me. And so he taught to his people this, and he is one of the last of the Dajjals to come, and Allah knows how many will come until the end of times. But we are now interested in the big Dajjal, the final Dajjal. And there are, before we get to the ahadith about Dajjal, there are two interesting aspects that are found in hadith literature that confuse the average reader, and in fact they even confuse some of the Sahaba. So they still remain elements of confusion about the issue of Dajjal. The first of them was that there was an individual who lived at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, whom even the Prophet ﷺ for a period of time didn't know, is he that Dajjal or is he a minor Dajjal? Okay, he didn't know. And this incident is mentioned in Sahih Muslim and many books of hadith. It is an authentic incident. Multiple narrations exist about a certain young man who lived in Medina, who was from one of the Yahudi tribes. And he was a sorcerer.